Hello there, very good evening and welcome to another edition of the Sports Centre on TV Bond. These are not the finest days for Sri Lanka cricket. Following their defeats against South Africa and England, Sri Lanka cricketers have subjected to a lot of criticisms from all around the corner. I had a conversation with Sidath Wettimuny, former Sri Lanka cricketer. According to him, it is not the players we should be blaming, it is the system that should be blamed. Particularly the domestic structure in the Sri Lanka cricketing circuit is what is the issue right now that we are facing. As a result of that, from the Sports Centre, we decided to show you what are the domestic competitions that have been staged all around the country. As you can see at the back of my screen, India, with a population of 1.3 billion people, have their Ranji Trophy, which is their primary domestic competition, sees the participation of 38 teams, followed by England, the ever popular county cricket, sees the participation of 18 teams. However, these 18 teams will be divided into two categories, Tier 1 and Tier 2. Tier 1 will see the participation of 10 teams, while the Tier 2 will see the participation of 8 teams. Similar to that, Sri Lanka also have adopted the same kind of method in terms of conducting a domestic tournament. For Sri Lanka, of course, 26 teams have the status of first-class cricket, out of which 14 teams will take part in the Tier 1 competition, 12 teams will take part in the Tier 2 competitions. This is how it is been set up. One notable point I would like you to focus on is the number of days matches being played in all these countries. As you can see, India, England, West Indies, Bangladesh and all the test playing nations are playing 4-day tournaments. But for Sri Lanka is playing a 3-day competition when it comes to first class competitions. And I guess it explains the reason why our test matches do not go beyond 4 days. Honorable Sports Minister Namal Rajapaksa, following his conversations with the Sri Lanka cricket officials after all these criticisms, had taken steps to make some revamps about what Sri Lanka should do in the future. Particularly, the focal point that he had discussed with the officials is the structure of the domestic cricket tournament, and they are planning on reducing the number of teams that will take part in the first class competition in Sri Lanka. Only the time would say whether these changes will bring a positive impact to Sri Lanka cricket in the future.
There couldn't be any better person than the current Sports Minister, Honorable Namal Rajapaksa, to do this, because he got the support of the Prime Minister, so to the President.
Absolutely. And one other advantage even above those, because I have spoken to him at a meeting, he has himself been a national sportsman. He's been a sportsman at the top. He knows what it is, because I remember in one discussion, we were talking about votes for provinces, and he said something very useful which opened my eyes, which is, he said, why do we give every province the same number of votes when Colombo, I think he was referring to rugby, when Colombo and Kandy have most of the clubs. So why give others all these votes when they're doing nothing? And I think it applies to cricket too. So yes, there's a good chance that he can do something.
I guess the only person who could make a change in the Sri Lanka cricket at this point of time is Honorable Sports Minister Namal Rajapaksa. That's what the expectation of the country, to see cricket grow as a sport in Sri Lanka.